Good morning, everyone. Once again, welcome back to this edition of In Focus. I'd like to welcome Alec Tincher back to the set. And Alec, we've been talking a lot about your acting career. We have much more to talk about. And by the way, I do want to let our viewers know that Alec's website and his Instagram will be on our screen throughout the show, so you can feel free to follow him on social media and keep up with his career there. So Alec, how did you end up enrolling at the William Esper School? Tell our viewers more about the prestige and the reputation associated with the school as well.
Yeah, so how I got involved with the school is a very interesting story. So one day I just randomly wanted to read a good acting book. Some of them can be kind of dry, so I just wanted to read something new. And I got on Facebook and I said, hey friends, I just want to read a good acting book. Can anyone recommend anything? And my friend Mark reached back out and said, you need to read The Actor's Art and Craft by William Esper. Bought the book, carried it around in my backpack with me as I'm doing my day jobs and everything. And I'm doing a background gig. And, you know, long super days, you're in holding a lot, just kind of chilling, doing whatever to pass time. I start reading this book. And this girl comes up to me. And she said something to me, and I couldn't understand her at first. She had a bit of a foreign accent. And so I asked her again, I said, I'm sorry, what? She says, the Esper book, you go there. And I said, no, I'm sorry, I'm just reading the book.
Yeah.
But what she was saying, she said, no, I went there.
Oh, wow.
I studied there, and it changed my life completely. You should really go there. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. That's great. I'll definitely check it out. And I kind of just put it in the back of my head. You know, I had other things to worry about. And I got to thinking about it and thought, let me just apply and see what happens. And I applied, and I got a call about a week later, and I did an interview, and that's kind of how I got involved with it.
Again, another example of the right place, the right time.
I know.
What are the chances that someone's like, you're reading that book, I went to that school, you need to go there, and it got the wheels turning for you to actually go there. That's so cool. Now, Alec, also you were in New York City when the pandemic started, so tell us more about that and how you ended up back here in Southern West Virginia. Just share with our viewers what that experience was like, because New York City was such a hot spot for COVID.
Yeah, so I was actually, for the majority of COVID, here. January 2020, I knew that I was going to have a week off. So I just decided I'm going to take a week off, go home in March, go see the family, etc. And while I was here visiting, the pandemic happened.
Wow.
Yeah, so I stayed in West Virginia from March until about late August, early September.
And then you did go back up to New York City then around September timeframe. Explain to our viewers what it was like going back in the middle of the pandemic like that.
Yeah, going back, well, I will say right now, like New York is doing great. You know, Broadway's opening up in less than 2 months. All my friends are posting pictures and it just looks amazing again, which is great.
Yeah.
But when I got back, it just felt different. If you've ever been to New York, there's an energy. You can feel it. It's great. It's lively. And it just wasn't there anymore. And I just felt out of place. My roommate situation, housing kind of fell through the roof. And I just kind of had to trust my instincts of, I need to pack it up. I just need to go back home again and just get another game plan going.
Yeah, and that makes sense, especially if it didn't feel right at that moment, which I can imagine it was a very stressful time being in New York as well. And Alec, you've also appeared on Netflix, so I want to touch more on your acting career. That is super cool.
Yeah.
Netflix, I mean, most of us out there probably have a Netflix account, but the ID channel, you've also appeared on CW's Legacies. So tell us more about all of that.
Yeah, so with CW's Legacies, you know, there are a lot of websites online where if you're an actor, you can browse gigs or jobs. And I was on a certain website and I just found the job and I applied, or you know, they send you the sides, you shoot the audition with a friend and you send it in to casting. Well, a couple days later, my agent calls me and goes, did you audition for this thing called Legacies? And I was like, yeah, why? And he goes, well, they want to meet you tomorrow. Your callback's tomorrow.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it was very exciting. And of course, like 24 hours of freaking out.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the show Legacies, it's an extension of the original, like Vampire Diaries, the originals, which was very hot in, you know, the early 2000 teens. But I had the callback session with, you know, producers, people on the crew, and it went very well. And then probably a week later, I got the call that I got it.
Well, and so tell us about your character then in Legacy.
Yeah, so the character that I play, his name is Günther. He is a vampire from Germany who's a prospective student at this school for like gifted youngsters, like vampires, werewolves, witches, etc. But although he's there to be a prospective student, he might have other intentions.
Ooh, interesting. Well, we do have a clip of you playing an in-role of Günther, so let's take a listen into that.
Met that vampire hunter. I'm glad we get this time alone, Headmaster. Salzman.
Wow. Well, I think there's actually a longer version of that. I want to watch it from the beginning if we can take a look at that, because we caught the tail end, so let's take a look at it from the beginning.
You're a fan of history, and that's very important to our curriculum here. Perhaps your parents could sign a letter of intent.
My parents are dead.
Oh. I'm sorry to hear that. Perhaps your legal guardians, then?
My guardians are from an old vampire line. They taught me about history and my family tree.
Yeah. Well, I'd certainly like to hear more about it, perhaps on the way to the office.
They also taught me about how several of us were murdered by a vampire hunter.
Uh-huh.
They made me swear an oath of vengeance if I ever met that vampire hunter. I'm glad we get this time alone, Headmaster. Salzman.
There's quite a lot of action in that scene, so tell us how you prepared for that particular scene right there.
Oh gosh, I just, going into a job, you have to know your lines. I was always taught at the Esper Studio to know your lines like you know your name. And then from that point on, it's just trusting your instinct, trusting what the director's telling you, and just doing it over and over and over again until, you get some really good shots and you get the final product.
And how did you master that German accent as well?
Oh, so that goes back to WVU when I was a vocal performance major. In vocal performance, you have to do a lot of foreign languages like Italian, French, German, and you have to learn the correct pronunciation. So when I was doing the audition and they sent me the sides, I just kind of had to think, okay, how would I say the word what? I'd put a V on it like vat. And it was just doing that with every single word. And once I got the gig, they set me up with, what are they called?
Like a coach
A dialect coach,
Okay.
a dialect coach who helped me even more and just made it that much better.
Oh, that is so impressive. Very
Yeah.
cool stuff. We do have to take one more quick break, though. We'll be right back after this. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to this edition of In Focus. I'm really excited to welcome back our guest, Alec Tincher, Princeton native. He spent some time in New York City. He's taken acting lessons at the William Esper School, very prestigious school. So we touched on that. We touched on the show Legacies and your role there, Alec. And also we've had conversations off camera about your acting career. And you mentioned to me that the business and marketing side of acting is just so crucial to success. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, so in terms of the business side of acting, they always call it, it's a business. And I have to view that as, I am the CEO of my own career. I am a product with a very particular brand in which I and, my agent has to pitch myself for jobs to producers, casting directors, etc., for their particular need for actors. And that involves, sending out marketing like postcards, emails, demo reels, things like that. So it's 100% a business.
And that is just as crucial as probably practicing your lines and doing all the other work.
Yeah, yeah. And if you don't know, what a product is, how are you going to buy it or invest in it? So it's a lot of reminding people of who you are and what you've done.
And that's important in any industry to really have that branding and that marketing skills behind you too. And also, Alec, you didn't let the no's define you or stop you from continuing to pursue your dream of acting. And I know a lot of people, I've heard stories where they have heard no's and they just kind of gave up, and then they've come to later regret it and have expressed that regret. Tell us more about the importance of not letting no's or people saying no to you hinder you or stop you from pursuing what you're really passionate about.
Yeah, I think, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're an actor, a TV anchor, if you're an entrepreneur starting a business. You're going to have, haters. You're going to have naysayers. You're going to have people that say you're not good enough, your brand or your product isn't good. But you just have to look by it. You just got to, if you're passionate about it and it brings you to life to do that thing, you just have to do it no matter what anyone says. Because if not, like you said, you're going to have regrets.
Yeah, and in any industry, you're going to have people who don't believe in you, but the key is you have to believe in yourself and keep pushing forward. Yeah, that's some great advice. So also, tell us more about your story. So to me, it stands out as one of, you grew up here in a small city in southern West Virginia, but you left your comfort zone and you explored the world, and you're really just starting to explore the world. Why do you think it was so important for you to leave your comfort zone and to get out there and branch out and see what was out there?
I think it was important because if you don't leave your comfort zone, you're just going to be comfortable your whole life. And there is a huge, beautiful world out there with so many opportunities, and you might get an opportunity that changes your life and enriches your life for the better.
And you don't know until you step out there and see. And that means taking a risk, because you don't know. You don't know what's on the other side.
And I think not taking a risk is the greatest risk of all.
Right, because then you'll never know.
You'll never know.
And you'll live a life of regrets, that's not a good thing.
No.
And also, Alec, what did you learn by making that move to New York City?
Oh, wow. I think I learned, if you want it bad enough, if you put in the hard work and you have that perseverance, anything is possible.
That's a great, I guess, key or saying to life in general. If you want it bad enough, it'll come to you. You just have to put in the work, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So I know some of our viewers out there are probably thinking, well, what's next for you? So, and I've asked you this off camera too. It could be a complicated, question, because none of us can foresee exactly what's in our future. But what do you see looking ahead for you?
Looking ahead, I think as an actor, I just want to work. I think that's what all actors do, is to work, because we're constantly, expressing that, that self, oh gosh, what's the word? It's self-expression, and it makes people come to life. But as to what I'm doing next, I can't really say. I'm not at liberty to say, but I would say follow my Instagram, follow my social media, and we'll see from there.
And we do have the information for our viewers as well. So if you are interested in keeping up with Alec, you heard him. He can't give us everything away, but you can certainly keep up with him on Instagram as well. And Alec, what advice would you have for other young people out there? Maybe they're in high school right now, and I know you've done some substitute teaching as well, so you've worked with people even younger than high school age. But what advice would you have for a young person right now who's just getting started and just trying to figure out what they want in this world?
I would tell them, whatever you want to do in life, want to be great at it. Because that desire to be great will give you the courage to move away. It'll give you the courage to go beyond that comfort zone. So just pursue greatness.
And what would you say for you as an actor, what is the one or two things that have really helped you grow and get to that next level?
Ooh, really just the perseverance that every single no that I received is just going to lead to the next yes, to not take it personally, to not think, oh, you're a horrible actor. It's just like, no, this wasn't meant for you, on to the next thing, on to the next thing.
Well, that's a really important thing that you just touched on, to not take it personally, because I feel like if people get a rejection, they can sometimes be like, well, maybe this just isn't the industry for me. But how many times do we hear about singers getting told no, and actors and others in other industries just being told no, or even the author of Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling, she was told no initially. So how many times does that happen in life, that people are told no? But if they had stopped there, we would never have the great works that we have today, whether it be acting or books or music, and you name it. We have just a little under a minute left in our show. Alec, do you have any other advice that you could offer to our viewers out there who are watching right now?
Oh, wow. You put me on the spot, Mel. I would
I'm going to do
say,
that.
anyone else listening, I would say, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to be in life, doesn't matter how old you are, young or old, go do it now.
I like that. And surround yourself, the thing I would offer, just what I've learned in my life, is surround yourself with other people who are positive thinkers.
Yes.
Right? Because like birds of a feather flock together, that saying can be true. And if you're surrounded by people who are inspired and they want greatness for themselves and for you, and they're just as excited for your success as they are for their own, that can go a long way too, having that encouragement.
Yeah.
Well, Alec, I just want to thank you again so much for joining us on this edition of In Focus. Yeah. And I also want to let our viewers know, if you're interested in being a part of this segment, you can always send me an email. That's mzosh, M-Z-O-S-H, @WVVA.com. The show really is about events, but also people just like Alec here in the Two Virginias who are doing great things. That does it for us this morning. We hope you have a fantastic day. See you again next Sunday.